Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Balls Deep. And my voice is still fucked up because I'm still a sick monkey. But I don't give a shit. We're going balls deep anyway. My name is Alan Gigax, and I don't think I introduced myself last time. Doesn't matter. Who cares? I'm here with Anthony Scafacci as usual. Say hello, Anthony.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing today?
Oh, there you go. You got that good audio quality going now. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
You know what's nice about this is the previous recordings that we done in like a living room with tile floors, and it's real echoey. And now we're doing it remotely, and so like the sound quality is a little bit worse, but it's also better because we don't have that echo going. And it's not too shabby. So anyway, in addition to Anthony Scafacci, we got his brother here, Joe Fiorio. Say hello, Joe.
What's going on there, guys? How you doing today, Al?
Hey, that's better. That's better. All
There
right.
you go.
Good job,
I'll
Joe.
give you what you want. I'm a pleaser, baby. I'm a pleaser.
Yeah, you are. Dude, that's good stuff. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the topic right away. So we are here to help you guys. We are helpers, and we are going to give you guys some tips because we are masters of this game. We're like the best NCAA 25 players that ever there's been. And so we're going to tell you guys how to kick ass, and we're going to start with offense. We are going to give you some simple offensive tips that are going to help you guys be better players. The top offensive tip that I have is racial slurs. Right? If you really want to be offensive, just go right for that. That is number one.
Nice.
All right.
Just start there, and then just wait for the riots.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But honestly, dude,
with your Dago mustache.
right, if you're playing Road to College Football Playoffs, you probably hear that stuff on a pretty regular basis.
Oh, dude, it's violent out there. Some of these youngsters, and some of these old dudes, man. Oh my God, the things that they'll say. They'll talk about
Is it
your
like
mom,
Call of Duty?
Let me tell you,
You probably.
it's probably up there. Yeah, it's like Call of Duty.
You know
but
what,
these
Rich?
guys
I
think
talk
they're
about your
athletes,
mom
too.
all the time.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Yeah, it makes sense because you guys do have the same mom and the same dad. It's me, motherfuckers. No, that's
Where have you been my whole life?
yeah, that's true.
You went out for some smokes.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah. Hey, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but Anthony and Joe actually have separate dads, but they both just as present.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Good times.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, and now after that, there's another offensive tip, right? Make fun of people's family upbringing. All right. So after that offensive tip, now let's get to some actual offensive tips. So Joe, you've actually like put up some big points in our league. You put up like 60 something in a recent game, didn't you?
I think it was 50. It was like 51 that I put up. But
Dude,
yeah,
do you remember
and
who
I
the
do it
opponent was?
predominantly running.
Yeah.
I think it was.
it doesn't matter.
Fresno State. It was Fresno State. Yeah, it was
Damn.
Fresno State here in the
Dude,
Mountain
that's
West.
pretty strong.
Yeah.
All right. So talk about
Yeah.
that. Talk about your running game and how you get that stuff going.
I found that, starting when this game came out, it was impossible to pass. And I've always, I've played this game 20, 30 years. I've been a big runner. I'm a fan of running the ball and clock control. So I enjoy pounding it away. And, when I used to play people online, I don't anymore, for the reasons you mentioned earlier. But it's, I like to control the clock. Playing against these guys who like to air it out and, score all these points. I prefer like a 21-7 win or 28-10 win like that. It's more exciting and more, I like it. I like it a lot more.
Yeah. So it's.
I'll tell you.
Oh, go ahead, Anthony.
So also just to follow up what Joe said, I think that running the ball is a big part of simplifying your offense so that for beginners, it's less risky. You're not going to throw interceptions. You might fumble, things like that, but the running game is pretty easy to get a hold of. You don't have to think too hard about it. You don't have to figure out which person you're going to pass it to. You could just kind of hand it off and run the ball early. And so, as a simple offensive tip, I think for people looking for a little bit of success, just start simple. Try to run the ball a little bit. Try to establish the run. And then as you start to get comfortable and get into some better down and distance, then you can experiment with short passing first, because this game is just like a lot of characteristics from Revamped, where your quarterbacks had to build up a rhythm. In order to throw that ball downfield, they had to first establish a few short passes, then medium passes, and so on. So I think, excuse me, if you combine those two.
Yeah, you guys have been blowing each other apparently.
What the fuck are you doing?
It's called balls deep for a reason.
Exactly. Sorry, I choked on it that time.
All this talk about ball control has got me choked.
It got me all hot and bothered.
Yeah,
You can't forget the balls, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Don't neglect the balls.
What about Alan? What about you? What have you had some success with?
Yeah, so you're exactly right about the passing. Like for me, also because I play with shit teams, just like you do. I use Hawaii, and then in my offline, I'm using New Mexico State. And like if I try to throw a pass more than 10 yards down the field, I'm probably going to get sacked. And so even like the drag routes where they'll go up, 12 yards and cut in, like dude, forget it. That I'm not going to be able to do that. And so what I find works best is just the short crosses over the middle. Like those I find are really effective, really easy to complete. Like once your dude runs past the linebacker, that's it, man. That's an easy pass.
Yeah, I agree. You know what I found that works as well, Al. That might help you, is if you move the pocket a little bit. If you roll out and move the pocket a little bit.
Are we still talking about college football?
No, that
good.
hot pocket of yours right there. Yeah, yeah, we moved that around.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've found from the first couple games to where we're at now, my quarterback has been more efficient. I'm kind of rolling out a little bit, buying a little more time. Receivers are getting open, and then I reset the pocket there and throw, and it seems to work out, especially with what you said, those drag routes and those out routes as well.
Yeah, right on.
Joe, you have showed me a few things about like pre-snap stuff that you can do. Can you maybe explain it to the audience?
Yeah, so you could move your route 3 different levels in this one. So you could have the short, the intermediate, and the long for whatever route you're running. So essentially, if you can get good at that, pre-snap, it's a whole different play. You could have this receiver doing that, going deep, and then the other one coming on an intermittent cross, where if you set it up correctly, I'm sure that you could have some big gains as well.
And what about, have you been able to figure out some of the offensive line things that you can do?
I know I'm a big fan, since I run the ball a lot, of double teams. So if you double team a specific lineman, I typically double team the one I'm running towards.
Wait. You can specify who you want to double team?
Yeah. So holding the controller, you would press L1 and then down on the direction pad, and then you move left and right over to whatever defensive lineman you want, and then you hit X, and then those linemen closest to it will double team that guy.
Dude.
Wow. We're not talking about college football anymore.
Oh, thank God. Yeah.
Once again, off the rails here.
Right.
Yeah. But right. But it works. I'm a big fan of, you give me 4 yards a pop, I'm happy with that. So with those double teams, you're at least getting 3-4 yards a pop most of the time if your line is decent. I don't need anything huge, but it definitely helps to my advantage when I use that. And I typically try to use it every play.
So
yeah, and
Anthony
still,
and I both go ahead.
Speed kills in this game, just like every other version of it. If you have speed, your offense suddenly gets a lot better, because one missed tackle, one blown coverage, if your lineman set the edge, suddenly, that 6-7 yard gain, you're off to the races. And these guys, they have breakaway speed, and people don't get dragged down from the back like in previous versions nearly as often. Instead, they break those tackles. They end up going all the way.
Yeah, I'm a lot like Joe, where I prefer like a power running game, and I'm cool with 4 yards at a pop. And so I drafted in my offline dynasty these power backs, and the problem is that their speed is like 83. And
Oh,
even
dude, I've
though
got
they're
that
good
same
You have to have
problem.
you have to have a
Buffalo.
good combination.
Yeah, that's the problem I'm running into. Yeah, they just can't break.
I
runs.
have in my single back sets. I have my quick running back, who I'm going to use to hit the outside and hit the edges, and then in my I formation and my strong, I have my bruiser. So I tend to use a dual running back set for what I'm trying to do. So
you
it
can't
helps,
do-
and especially with the wear and tear, it helps.
Yeah, but you can't do formation subs. So how do you switch out your running backs?
So you
It's
can't.
right
So
stick,
you can't
man.
do full formation. It's right stick, and like if you go to a specific formation, you could hit right stick, and there's spell halfback. So until you change it, now that whole formation has that other halfback in there. So you don't have to do it over and over again. It stays like that until you want to move it and move it back. So I just keep the formations, the I formation and the strong, with my bruiser. So when I call that formation, he's already in.
Dude, that is so good to know. Yeah, I had no idea.
But it's
that
only
was an
game to
option.
game. It's not like for the
Permanent,
whole
like it
dynasty.
used
It's
to
not
be
like
for
a
formation
roster
subs,
set.
yeah.
Yeah,
but still, like, to
it's
be
just
able
for
to
the
be-
game.
It's in the play calling screen, right? And you just
Yeah,
scroll
absolutely.
up while you're calling. Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
Toggle
Thanks, man.
right
That's a
stick.
good hip.
Yeah,
Nice.
I shouldn't have fucking told you since you're in my damn conference. Whatever, everything I just said, fucking forget it. You hear me?
That's right. Everything this guy just said is bullshit.
It's
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right, so those are some offensive tips. So what about like anything specific for running? Like it used to be in 14, like you really didn't want to hit turbo because your guys would release their blocks. Anything like that in this game?
it's definitely still the same. You got to be patient.
Yeah,
you
still-
got to pick
yeah,
your way
patient,
through the
find your
line. You
hole.
can't just hold turbo.
Yeah.
The running in this game is pretty forgiving, in my opinion. You definitely break a little bit more tackles. You definitely fall forward a little bit more often.
Right,
than
and I
in
really like
previous
how the
games.
guys, like it used to be if you just bumped into somebody else, you were tackled. And now, he's a
Yeah.
lot more resilient. Like he'll step over
Yeah.
players on the ground.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
And sometimes it'll kind of
absolutely.
like auto hurdle and things like that. So yeah,
Right.
it definitely helps now.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so those are our offensive tips. Now we're going to get on to simple defensive tips. And of course, the best tips for defensive strategies come from Shaggy. Wasn't me.
Yeah, it wasn't me exactly.
right?
Yeah,
I like
exactly.
that. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to use that.
So,
one.
for me, I think for defensive tips, it's actually, you have to settle on a defense you like and you understand. A lot of people are running like a 4-2-5 or a 3-3-5
Yeah, I was
as
just
their
gonna say that
base
4-2-5.
defenses. And yeah, I'm starting to really kind of get into the 4-2-5,
I like it.
but
Yeah, I
but
like
with
it.
my Buffalo roster, it doesn't matter what the hell I run. The defense.
Bro, it wouldn't
just
have
is
mattered if you had
non-existent.
fucking 20 people out there. You'd still get your
Yeah, I
ass
know.
beat.
I could have
I've
like,
seen you
all
play.
the backups.
6'8".
Yeah, I could
Yeah,
have the whole starting lineup, all the backups, half the coaching staff, and a couple members of the student body out there. They're still not going to stop anybody. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, third and 15 completion.
Oh, dude, I've never thrown a controller in my life, but in the last game, I came so fucking close. It was a 3rd and 17, and I was like, dude, I got them. Not only did they get the 17, they got like 68. Fucking scored.
Oh, you know what? You know what's funny? I was watching that, and I was like, oh, if I were Rich, I'd be pissed. I was like, he's probably going to throw something at some point.
Dude, I
That's funny.
was pretty fucking close, man. I just wanted to throw that controller, and I was so mad. I was pretty fucking put on tilt right there.
Yeah.
But
so
it
on
happens. These things.
On defense,
Go
there's some
ahead, Al.
coverage adjustments that have started being helpful to me. Like there's sometimes like where that the computer is always going to go long. Like, dude, from playing Road to Glory, I've noticed that the computer still, like once you get inside of 2 minutes, they just call 4 verts no matter what, even if they're down at the 5-yard line.
I'm pretty
so-
sure that the computer only has one
Really?
passing play, and it's 4 verts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude, from Road to Glory, you see their play selection. It's like, what the hell are you doing? So anyway, like if you know that they're going to be passing deep, then you can adjust your coverage, and I do it to over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so you don't get burned deep. You can also do like give cushion. And then sometimes like, dude, they're probably going to throw to the sidelines. So you can go for outside coverage, and it's kind of a guessing game, but that stuff does help.
I think it definitely makes a difference. I mean, what I've learned is that you have to, mix your coverages up. You definitely have to use the shells and try to show different shells. The more it works more on people than it does on the computer, but yeah, mix up your coverages. And for me, I pretty much will always keep at least 2 safeties back, but that's because I don't have any talent on the team, and so I can't afford to give up 2 play drives. They're just killers. So I have to force the opponent to work their way down the field. When I play online against players and I'm using better teams, suddenly all of a sudden I can stop people again. It's pretty amazing. But, dude, against the computer,
go figure.
With this Buffalo roster, it's so bad.
So for me, I get really frustrated when the other team can run on me and they get like 7 yards a carry. And so I really prefer to run 4-3 in almost all situations unless they have like 4 wide receivers. And even then,
really, you run a 4-3 even against like the 3 wide receiver sets?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then I do, and it, dude, my defense. I probably have one of the best defenses in our dad's league. It works really well for me, and then because I don't get run on as much, and if I could, I'd play 4-4 sometimes. But I got to redo my playbook to get that.
I play 4-4 sometimes. I like the 4-4.
Yeah, it's really good for stopping the run.
Yeah, absolutely. What I found as well is blitzing. I blitz a little more than I used to, but I think it helps. It definitely helps you against the computer, even when they pass.
Yeah, and defensive back blitzes tend to get there a little more often in this game than they did in previous versions. At least that's what
I'm
not that brave yet.
Dangerously.
I'm not that brave yet.
You guys are fucking living dangerously, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I'll blitz my outside backers or my middle backers. Yeah, right.
Hey, Joe. Do you know how condoms are like rattlesnakes?
How is that?
I don't fuck with either of them.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that. I like that one.
All right. Anyway, your middle linebacker, you said?
Yeah, I blitz with my middle linebackers and my outside backers. I tend to use a defensive lineman, and I always have, since, Madden 98 and NCAA 97. I like a defensive tackle. And so I try to swim or use some kind of move and disrupt the run. I'll let everybody else fiddle with the pass until, I have to take control of it, and I will. But I feel if I could stop the run, damn near I stop it all the time because I'm the defensive lineman.
All right.
Or at least make them push it outside.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's important to keep it simple and lower your room for error. And by controlling a defensive lineman, you don't have that high ceiling and you can't necessarily be as disruptive in the middle of the field. But, man, it really helps to get into that backfield, put some pressure on the quarterback, and do it without having to blitz. And once you learn those defensive lineman moves, you can get pretty consistent pressure on the quarterback by yourself. And so for me, that's a big part of the game, especially after a couple of years of recruiting when you have defensive linemen that are in the mid-80s or the low 90s. Those guys are like terrors. With one guy,
you train wreck.
You can shut down. Yeah, you can shut down most offenses with just a good defensive end and a good defensive tackle.
Now, see, I'm at the opposite end of the spectrum from you guys because I use the middle linebacker exclusively, and I don't switch off of him. I just play that guy the entire game all the way through, and I've gotten pretty good.
You're crazy.
I am, but dude, when I read run, I read the offensive line. I can see which way they're going. I can see where they're developing that gap, and I go into that. Now, the problem is I'm almost 50 years old.
On the pass.
Well, we'll get to that, but I'm almost 50 years old, and so I don't have the thumbs I used to have, And so I'll go into the gap, and then the guy just like does a juke move, and I got no chance. Like I cannot.
And you drop the
answer
fucking
that.
controller, like
Yeah, that too. Right, exactly. My old creaky hands. Yeah, can't make that move.
Yeah, I got fucking arthritis. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
I,
young
like,
man's game.
Right. I do all the stupid shit like that novice players do. Like I over pursue. You know, the guy's going to the outside, and like I race him to the sideline, then he just cuts upfield.
And then you
And so-
dive into a coach standing on the sideline and
Yeah,
kill him.
exactly.
yeah, right.
But dude, for pass defense, I'm pretty good now at zone defense. And one of the first games I played actually got an interception. I was covering the guy. He
shit.
ran like a post, and I intercepted. It was so goddamn exciting.
Did you go run into your wife's
Huh.
room and tell her about it immediately?
I did, and then I went balls deep.
Yeah.
And
No,
then,
that's not
and then your voice went.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, God damn it. All right.
You know, one more thing that I found helps real
Yeah,
quick
go
if we
for
got
it.
a second. If you play the mini games, there are
Oh,
a bunch
yeah,
of
they do
mini
help.
games. I think those are great, and I think they're a good tool to help people learn the game and learn the specific positions as well. And it helps you kind of master those skills.
Yeah.
I like
Which
them all.
mini game specifically would you recommend?
So, well, I guess, the passing tree, they have one where you throw it through targets, which is a little bit harder than it looks because you have to position the quarterback at a certain angle so it hits the target and the receiver at the same time. So that's a little tricky. It's hard for me to get that one down, but the running, the okie dives that they do, the in between the lines. They have that. They have the whole field. They have the blocking dummies where you have to hit the hole. So it helps you tremendously in a lot of ways.
My favorite mini game is called Hide the Salami.
Yeah,
I like hide the shiny toy.
mini game is correct.
Yeah. It's, dude. All right, you got me on that one. I think that's a good place to leave it for today.
Zing.
So once again, yeah, exactly. We are once again sponsored by our trusted pal, Baphomet Attorney at Law. We want to thank today's sponsor, Baphomet Attorney at Law. If your civil rights have been trampled on, be sure to give Baphomet a call. Baphomet promises nothing but top-notch civil rights representation and is licensed in 12 states, as well as the Astral Plane, Celestial Plane, and the Fourth Circle of Hell. For over 1,200 years, Baphomet has fought injustice in this world and the next. Call today for a free consultation.
All right.
All right.
Love you
Thanks
guys.
again, Joe. Thanks again, Alan, for joining us.
Hell yeah.
Man, this is a good
Mazel
episode,
tov.
I think. I think this is strong.
All right. All right, guys.
like
Take
it.
care. Catch you next time. See you.